Sixth race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup, and the winter has set in high in the Engadine Valley in Switzerland. We're in historic St. Moritz, ready to race down the valley to Celerina, as they have been doing for nearly 125 years. Well, good morning everybody to very snowy conditions here in St. Moritz. Martin Haven and John Morgan looking forward to calling the action for you at the fastest, the longest and the only natural track on the planet. John, always a thrill for the drivers.
Martin, there's so much history on this track. Although I'm 5,000 miles away, the history just permeates right to you. You feel it. The only natural ice track, the longest track on the planet. And I want you just to take a look how smooth this is on the artificially tracks where the tracks are built in the cement. You can hear, you can't hear anything. Here in St. Moritz, the athletes can hear the PA system on the way down the track. Long straightaway up top, you come into this wall curve, and now first two-quarter combination. Snake into Sunny. Big sweeping right. Now the two-quarter combination, Nash and Dixon, named after the two British bobsledders who won the gold medal here in '64. Now into the most famous curve in the world, Horseshoe, into Telephone. These are curves that the names were put on it 100 years ago. The tradition on this track just speaks for itself. Speeds, highest speeds on the planet, except maybe for Whistler. Now in the bottom part of the track, you get close to 85 miles an hour into the Martineau curve. Martineau was the founder of the St. Moritz Bobsled Club. Martin Haven, it's just, you just feel the tradition when you come to this track.
Yeah, don't you just? It's just such a fabulous location. The vistas, the panorama on any other day, and hopefully Saturday will be one of those days, are just astonishing. Martin Stuckers, our World Cup points leader, from Alexander Gassner, the German, having the season of his life at the moment. Felix Kaisinger lies in third position. Top Russians aren't here again. They have gone back to do some training in Altenburg for the World Championships. They missed a race just before Christmas. There's an Intercontinental Cup race. That's the second tier of sliding. They're not off there looking for trophies. They're off there looking for experience. So we won't see Chechikov, Chegibov or Elena Nikitina in our field today. Men's race up first, women's race second. And John, on a snow day, the bigger the athlete, the better the chance you have of surviving the snowfall. In the trees, it's not so bad. There's not so much snow in the track, but the track workers were working overtime yesterday. Coaches were in helping to shovel snow out of the track. It's going to be a long day for everybody associated with the St. Moritz track.
From Canada, Kevin Boyer. The track is clear.
Let's get our race underway. We have 27 sleds, including 3 brand new sliders. Our first is Kevin Boyer. He wastes no time getting underway.
I don't blame him. That's great strategy. The snow's falling. The snow protocol will be in place. Martin, here's this long straightaway into the wall curve, and boy, there's just no mistakes allowed. But again, they're sliding here minute 9, minute 10. Last week's race, 50 seconds. So you got to go 20 seconds longer than what the athletes are used to. Different challenge the St. Moritz track, Martin.
And different for the skeleton athletes. They weren't training yesterday. They trained in sunny, fast conditions. Yesterday, the bobsleds were coming down 3 seconds slower than they would normally do. So the speeds will be different for these sliders, and the feel will be different.
Well, our rabbit, he wants to be the first guy down as quick as possible. And Martin, usually on this track, people who go last
Kevin Boyer the first time from today,
from
this race,
because the track was just built. It's different every year. It's not exact, so we're going to see a lot of track records. But no matter what in sliding, we love seeing those gold numbers pop up like that.
Exactly right. First man down gets to set the track record, and all of these athletes look forward all year long to coming back to this place.
Little skid up there. Boy, you don't want to do that, but he corrects very well. Horseshoe, we're going to get some compelling pictures out of here. Look at the bullet form, his chin. You see him bouncing down like that? That's chin on the ice. If we heard the loud audio, you would hear that scratching. A lot of G-forces in that curve.
Next up, Canada's Mark Lynch, World Cup rookie this season. Of course, the Canadians and the Americans only joined the World Cup last week in Winterberg. The Koreans are back as well, so we're starting to get a lot more of our athletes over. So what can Mark Lynch do? Only raced here before once. In fact, no, he's never raced here on this track before.
Has he ever been in a World Cup, Mark?
Yeah, World Cup last week in Winterberg was his very first World Cup start. He did race in the World Championships. Yeah, raced in the World Champs in Whistler, which is where we met him before, which is why I was surprised that it was his debut last year.
Well, it's a Canadian championship at the moment with two Canadian sleds. First two acts. Now, that was part of the draw where they take the top five, the five athletes in the bottom of the field, anybody outside the top 15, and they draw the five of them, and they go first. So Boyer and Lynch had the luck of the draw in a normal situation. But here in St. Moritz, it's better to go last, not first. So all the rules and regs we're used to are thrown out the window when we come to St. Moritz.
Except for maybe on a snow day. Maybe they've got the best or least snowy track that we've seen today, so who knows? I mean, you know, when your heart will sink, absolutely, normally, if you get first or second, because, you know, you're in a fridge then on the frost, but on a snow day, who knows?
Was that Jeff Payne in the winner's box with that mask on?
That was Jeff Payne, yeah. Jeff Payne is here coaching Czech Republic, so he's here to coach Anna Fernstedt, but he's helping the Canadians as well.
Trying to think if he ever medaled here.
Not since the 2007 Worlds. I don't have records going back that far. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, well, he's the 2006 silver medalist, multiple winner on the tour.
And now ready in the box from Spain,
he was the World Cup champion in 2004, 5, and 5, 6. The overall World Cup champion. So I would think he would have medaled here in his day.
We've got a World Cup champion from the 05-06 season competing later, but here in his 88th World Cup start, Spain's Ander Mirambel. Only 3 sliders in history, I think, have started more races. The Dukos brothers and Alexander Tretiakov.
Great representative for the sport. He's been very popular amongst the athletes, and what he's done for the sport in Spain. But Anders, he's retired a few times, but the sport is addicting. It's pretty tough to just put your cleats away, as they say. But Martin, he's faced a lot of injuries in his career, that's for sure.
Yeah, last few seasons he struggled, and he's still recovering from a shoulder surgery he had pre-season. But as you say, he's brought on about a dozen new Spanish sliders, so he's trying to create a legacy, create a whole Olympic movement out of his career.
Yeah, he was 20 hundredths down a horseshoe. He had the best speed in the bottom. That's why he's green numbers. He's the most experienced slider of the 3 so far. And he sets the track record very appropriately. Good job, Ander. You can tell your grandchildren you held the track record in St. Moritz.
World Cup best here for him, 14th place back in January 2017. Tuffy Latour, as ever, on sled duty down at the bottom.
Vamos! Oh, yeah.
Always enthusiastic on his Bromley sled.
Yeah. You think every time Ander comes to the track, when he finishes, where he finishes, you think he won the race with his, it just shows you the passion he has for the sport. Look at the lean. Look at the body lean there to come off compared to the other sleds. Again, the pictures here on the exit of this curve are just spectacular. You know, you can really show, and that's so many G's on that, on the exit there, Martin. TV doesn't do it justice.
Next up, Thomas Ducours. Thomas in World Cup number 132 plus. Those are the ones we've got records for. I have to get the Latvians to dig out the total number for these boys.
Now, why is he going number 4? Did they just draw the top 3? Not the top 5?
So you come from outside the top 10, and then the next 10. Yeah,
I said 5. That's more appropriate for Bobsleigh. It depends on the numbers in the field, I think. But against Thomas, I mean, he would have rather drawn the worst possible number. Look at the lead he's got. 8400s. Now, as we get into the top sliders here, I'm going to start to emphasize the speed on the Exeter Horseshoe. Keep your eyes on the speed that comes up. He's 9100s there, 99 kilometers. That means he's probably going to increase that lead even more. 97. He didn't increase it that much.
Normally see the men doing 101 Ks below Horseshoe in the forest. The fastest women get to 100, so the speeds are lower.
Thomas Ducours
And look at that, he doesn't have the same speed as Andrew Maribel. Now,
1:08:44. 1
look
second
at the snow
faster.
accumulating in the track. Now again, he had the best speed on the exit of Horseshoe. You would expect him to have the best speed as he got down to the bottom, especially with his experience and what he's done in his career compared to Andrew. And it's a Latvian skeleton athlete.
Yeah.
You know, of course.
His coach there embracing the Swiss look with the long socks. You won't see that anywhere else.
But look at the launch onto the sled. The tallest man in the competition used to be Ben Sanford, but Thomas is the tallest by far of anybody. Look at the lean and the slingshot effect onto the bottom and the telephone and pivotal part of the track. Horseshoe. We'll continue to talk about it.
Next up, Alexander Gassner lies second in the World Cup standings, silver medalist in the season opener in Segunda. He had a bronze last week. His World Cup best time, a bronze medal in January 2018.
Verliert wohl gerade 200 Sekunden auf Thomas Ducours. Thomas Gassner mit einem Problem im Oberteil. Eine leichte Bande vor dem Wall gehabt. Gleiche Zeit im Wall, 17:13.
He's had pretty good history on the Saturdays in the last couple of seasons.
Well, you know, he's got 100th of a lead now, so we got a race here between Thomas Ducours and Mr. Gassner. Let's look at the exit. High line, looking for the speed. 200 something. Does he have the best speed? It looks like he does. So this should go out to 300 or 400s here, if you do the math. 400s. He's got the best speed at that point, down to no name. Now can he carry the best speed out of the bottom, which Ducours did not have. He only has the third best speed. That tells me a lot of snow is accumulating in the track down below and track record, but he lost it on the bottom. I think this, once you get out of the woods up there, near the no-name curve, I think you're going to see lesser speeds because of the snow accumulation.
And I think the more sleds come down, the more that's going to be. Watching training yesterday afternoon, it looked like it was the 1960s when tracks were snow rather than sheet ice as we're used to.
Start, I mean, there's no gimme on this start. Great entry onto the sled. Remember, that's natural ice there. You don't believe it when you come to this track to see what they have up here. It's natural ice, but it's just nothing like you ever experience in the modern sport of sliding skeleton racing here.
St. Switzerland, the first snow race of the season. In fact, this is the snowiest sliding I can remember seeing in St. Moritz in a long while. We've come here where it's been bitterly cold. We've come here where there have been brown fields all around us. But snow days here, despite the huge amount of snow on the mountains, are relatively rare.
Push time, 5:00.
From the Ukraine slider, who finished 16th on this track last year. And Martin, you thought, you would think with his sliding persona, which is, he's a really good athlete down the track, great form, great speeds, but finishing 16th here last year, I'm sure he wants to improve upon that, as he should.
Absolutely. It was his birthday on Tuesday, turned 22. And again, one of the tallest, heaviest men in the field, and that will help him. Helps you slow plow through.
Yeah, but only the third best speed, Martin, which it's the first person there. And now we're going to get into where you might be into a slow plow situation. But again, perfect form. I mean, his form on the track is as good as anybody. Doesn't get the great starts. Probably, I could say, the athlete in the field that's built like a bobsledder. That's pretty good, Martin. There's his dad. That's pretty good time there, considering where he was at Horseshoe.
Yeah, I agree entirely, and I think the later runners are going to struggle. You know, this is over a mile of ice, John, and there's a dozen track workers, but that's a lot of ground they have to cover to keep the track clear, and it's just going to get more and more snowy. And the snow's on his helmet, but look at it flurrying up underneath the sled as well. Even at those low speeds, you can see how much there is in the track.
Martin, when you go to a horse race and it's raining and muddy, I love it, because you got a chance for an upset. Maybe we got a chance for somebody coming out of nowhere today to win this race. Yeah. I love upsets.
I think it's a tough race for the smaller athletes. Florian Auer of Austria is one of those. His 33rd World Cup start, the 26-year-old. Probably not slid in conditions like this, but a 4:99 getaway, only the third under 5 seconds.
Your times 5:00
20th
at the
place
start
last year in this race. Martin, he's really improved from a couple of years ago. You know, I've only done a couple of races, but I've been watching him. That's one thing, he has really improved, and you know, he's got that little pedigree involved. His father won the overall World Cup title in 89-90, 90-91, 91-92, 93-94, 94-95. His father's a 5-time World Cup champion, besides being a 2-time World champion in the sport. So if he can get some of his father's talent, he'll continue to improve.
Only 7th best speed, so he is slowing in the snow.
Well, as we talk about down here, once you get out of the woods, 7th, so he really, again, 20th last year, he made the cut. You know, and 5th, you know, not bad, but, you know, I think that's going to probably put him in the top 20 for sure. Again, 7 guys aren't going to make the race. The largest field of the season, Martin, and, you know, with COVID-19, we've had some small fields. Yeah, exactly. If you're going to go out and race.
Everybody wanted to come here. Well, gee, what a surprise. This is the one race you do not want to get stood down for.
Look at the way he launched himself onto the sled. Great technique. I think he's done a lot more training, dry land training. Look how high he is in Horseshoe. One of the highest lines we've seen there. I don't know if that
takes a bit of bravery. Well, there's less snow up there, that's for sure. Next up, Felix Kaisinger, silver medalist here last year, one of his best race results, yet to claim a win in World Cup sliding.
Been a little inconsistent, Martin. 2nd place in the opening event. Hasn't been on the podium since. You know how good of a talent this kid is at the start. You know what he did last year in the World Championships. You know, when we saw him get the silver medal right off the bat, I thought this was going to be a signature season for him. Maybe he can turn around here today.
Unfortunately,
as I say that, he's third in
his middle name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm you know, giving him all this criticism, and he's third in World Cup points. So, but speed, 1900s up, but he's got the 2nd best speed. So, I don't know if that'll get out to 22 or 23. It might go back to 16. Check it out. Back to 11. So he's going to probably fall back. Red numbers probably here, unless he has some kind of a fine line down here. It's going to be close. There's the red number, 6th best speed. The snow is accumulating. Oh, he hit there. The struggle he had into the finish. Third, yeah, coach, I'd say that too. He hit there in that one spot on the bottom, Martin. TV doesn't show it. That's going uphill. In the gravity sport, you do not want to hit going uphill. And that's about 40 yards before the finish line.
You're almost a mile down the mountain, John, and if you hit between Martineau and Portago, you throw your race away, and that's a tough end to a first heat for Kaisinger.
Yeah, that's what he was just, his frustration. Pretty good run. Look at the way his right leg touches first. I'm going to keep looking at those starts. The guys that launch themselves where they'll come down with their chest. Look how much steering he had to do in curve 1. This is where he starts to make his mistake down here in the bottom. On the long straight, right there he hit out of Martineau into Portago. And then he sets him into the finish curve, Martin. That was no perfect line. Yeah, look at him, he's frustrated.
Next up, Marcus Wyatt of Great Britain finished 11th in last year's race, one of our quickest starters. Only 3 races here in his career.
484,
nice start right there, Martin.
Felix, 479 bist du gestartet und 1:08:69 deine Schlusszeit.
Only 3 starts so far this year. The number 2 event, Segolda, a bronze medal. You know, his first ever. And Martin, if you can start the sled, you have a great chance of being successful in the sport.
Erstmal hat er einen sehr guten Lauf.
Watch for the line. What kind of line? Medium high. 1200's back. Check the speed. 7th best speed. He's going to start to fall away from that now, Martin. I think his style of sliding, with his experience, he likes them short 1,1300 meter tracks, the Winterbergs, the Innsbrucks, Park Cities. On this long super speedway we have here in San Moritz, 5th best speed. Should be a 5th or 6th best time.
5th place, 1:08:89.
Not bad. 2 tenths behind Felix Kaisinger in 3rd. There is some big gaps early in the race here.
Well, it's also the longest track. Remember, last week they were sliding 50-second times. Now what were we sliding? Minute 10s? I mean, it's 20 seconds longer. Look at the medium high line. Yeah, that's a high line. He's up near the lip. Doesn't have a lot of body lean there. Looks pretty confident on the slingshot move to the bottom. And here, boy, that's the exit of the horseshoe, different camera. Yeah, the British had a little success in this track all the way back to 1928 when the British won the bronze medal on the track in the skeleton cresta competition. The Americans won gold and silver. A couple brothers, Jen Heaton and John Heaton won the gold and silver, but the British guy named Dave Carnegie won the bronze medal here as the first ever skeleton cresta run in the Olympic Games.
Yeah, the cresta run used in the Olympics in 28 and 48, and then the next skeleton race was in 2002 in Salt Lake City. So the cresta run, the San Moritz Toboggan Club runs in parallel. They crisscross each other down the valley. The cresta run and the Bobsleigh run, which is run by the San Moritz Bobsleigh Club.
And the British, both athletes, good start times. Speed, now let's watch it, really low line there. 1700's back. Speed, 8th best speed. That low line was a little suspect. Now the speed is into horseshoe, not in the exit of horseshoe. 9th best, boy. Doesn't have the setup, looks like, Martin, for this long super speedway. Little tap there before Portago. 6th.
Yeah, comes back a little, but he's 3 tenths behind his teammate at the line. That's not great news, is it?
No. Listen to that.
So sixth position at the
Little
moment.
difference when you're
over 3/4 of a second back, John. These are huge margins.
Huge times. Didn't compete here last year. One of the best starters in the field, Martin. The British really know how to select their athletes. Watch his entry onto the sled. His right knee comes first. That's strange. Look at his toe drag there, too, Martin. I don't think that was a clean entry onto that sled.
He was running away from the sled. It was getting away from him almost.
Yeah.
Craig Thompson in 6th. Alexander Gassner, our early leader, from Thomas Dukos and Felix Kaisinger. Next up, our World Cup points leader and last year's race winner. Well, pretty much everywhere, but here as well, Martin Dukos.
He's only got the third best start. Bet the second best speed at the exit of the curve one, so his entry onto the sled produced a better velocity. And, well, this guy, his first medal on this track in 2009-10. Martin, it's 11 years ago. I mean, the Michael Schumacher on the report. Speed.
Only 7 wins here.
In the lead. Oh my God, Martin, he has the best speed. Can you believe that? Can we believe he has the best speed? Oh, he's 1600s. He still has the best speed. And let's see if he can maintain the best speed down here in the snow belt.
Did nobody tell him it was snowing here in Samaritz? It's a new track record coming up. He'll take the lead away from Alexander Gassner.
1:08:22, 2/10 ahead of Alexander Gassner.
Martin Stukar's just posted the best time of the run. So it doesn't matter if he's on a 1,200-meter track, you know, if whatever this is, 1,500-meter track. He's still the best ever. Another day at the office.
He's done 16 World Cup races here and 2 World Championships. That's some experience of this track.
Technically, a perfect load onto the sled. Look at the form. Now, there's the guy you want to judge his high line and the exit. Okay, he had the 3rd best start, 2nd best velocity at the exit. That's his only visual mistake. Martin, and his head was down. Keep your eyes on that. That's the first guy I've noticed there that flew blind from Portago to Martineau. Or from Martineau to Portago, excuse me. But he had his head down. That was strange.
Here is Austria's Samuel, the 21-year-old, finishing 14th place here last year. He too having a good season. 3 races this year. 10th place in Winterberg, the worst of them. And like Florian Auer, he is definitely having a much better season this year.
Yeah, they've got improved start times, so I think the Austrians, well, they got that thing called Benny Meyer, you know, and the Austrians have had a pretty good weekend in World Cup last year, the European Championships last weekend, but both these Austrian athletes are better starters.
Top speed, den Haarschub erwischt Samuel Meyer.
He's got medium, not the high line. We saw from 2 cars. 7/10 back, 7th best speed. The numbers add up.
Sammy Meyer, one of the smaller sliders. Brother Benny, you mentioned, he's racing in the Bobsleigh this weekend. His sister-in-law Elizabeth Meyer also racing, and her older brother Ralph Meyer, who was a World Cup slider, is here coaching as
Samuel
well.
Meyer in Ziel, 1:09:14.
His father manages the sport competitions for, you know, for the IBSF. So it's not bad. I think we could say the Meyers are all in the family type thing, but it
Their sister doesn't
how
slide,
close the
and their
sport
mother
is.
doesn't. But apart from that, everybody is in the business.
Good technique. Look at that. The chest and the hips come on first. I like that technique. This is Nash and Dixon. He's not real confident. Tucky tap with his toe there. This is the long straightaway down on the speed part of the course, and the part of the course I'm calling the snow belt.
Next up is our world champion, Christopher Grodehair. One World Cup win, one World Championship win. That's his gold medal haul. Didn't race in this race last year.
He was saving himself for the World Championship.
His best ever finish here was a top 6 a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, one medal so far on the World Cup circuit this year. In Innsbruck, he got bronze. So the world champion will get a chance to defend his world championship title on the same track that he won the world championships, Latvian and German, coming up in a couple weeks. Ooh,
Second
late
best
there.
This is a good looking run.
Yeah, only 2,700s back to Ducar's 5th best speed down in the snow belt. Martin, the snow, I guess it's still coming down as hard as it was when we started. 5th best speed there. Should be a 3rd or 4th best run though.
Nach vorne reichen für Christopher Grotheer, den amtierenden Weltmeister. 4. Zwischenrang in 1:08:59. Rückstand von 0,3.
back. Martin on a normal track, that's an eternity of time. Here at St. Moritz, they are pretty well spread out.
Yeah, especially in these conditions. Normally it would be closer than that, but in these conditions, it just depends, you know, where the clump of snow falls off the tree and you happen to hit it or not can make a 1/10 of a second difference.
Boy, he was up there near the woodwork. Beautiful form though, no fear, head down there. So the world champion showing some great form. 4th place though, at the bottom.
Next up, Switzerland's Sammy Kaiser, the 22-year-old, got into the sport when his aunt, Kirsten Simkowiak, was head of the Swiss operation. She got him in on one of their recruiting days, and much against his better judgment, he actually loved skeleton. So there you go, the die was cast.
Well, you take your first ride in these sliding sports, skeleton, luge, and you all of a sudden you get off the sled and you go, I love this, everything else in life is irrelevant, I'm going to do this until I can. Or you go, this isn't for me, and you go to the parking lot. Obviously this young
There's
athlete
only
here,
2 ways. You either race back up to the top or you race to the bus stop.
yes, either or, go to the parking lot, see the look in people's eyes. But this young athlete here has obviously drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, having an auntie who is an Olympian in the sport definitely gives it that extra little bit of encouragement to compete. Mind you, she's left her blood on this track, hasn't she?
Oh yeah, Christian for sure. And the Swiss didn't win any Olympic medals at Creston, 28 or 48. In fact, the best was 5th at 48. So the Swiss, this is their home track, and they had a guy a few years ago, you and I both know him, his name was Gregor Stalling. He was one of the greats in the modern day part of skeleton. Won the World Cup title in 2001-2, Olympic bronze medal in 2002, the World Championships here in 2007.
Yep.
Yeah, so Stolly was the legend in the sport. You'll probably see him around here this weekend. Not a great transition there in horseshoe.
Yeah, needs a little bit more time on the ice. But of course, even the Swiss don't get that because they only had a week Christmas to New Year on the track. Next up, Sebastian Inaki of Romania. Just missed the cut last year, 21st place. As you say, John, with a 27-strong field, first job is going to be to try and make the second heat.
Well, this would be a challenge for this young Romanian. Romanians who compete in every discipline. And I always say, this country does more with less than any country in the field, Martin. And if you put them all in equal sleds, equal equipment, I think they'd see some better results. But great sliding tradition for this small country.
Oh,
Ooh, a lot of scratching there.
Yeah.
It's going to cost him the speed.
He's only been here twice before, raced in the Europa Cup, raced in the Junior Worlds in 2018, but hasn't been with St. Moritz in 2 years. Look at the snow build-up on the visor as well, that can't be helping.
Pretty good speed, Martin, considering he was 11th best speed down to 8th, so he definitely improved from the bottom, 10th.
He's in the race, isn't he? No question. This could end up being one of his... Could end up being one of his best races. World Cup bests are a pair of 16th place finishes. 10th in this field with 15 sleds already gone. That's a great run from Sebastian Inaki.
Yeah, and you know, Martin, there's a lot of scratching on the horseshoe exit. His knee comes down there. He could improve that entry onto the sled. And here, look at the body lean. He's doing a lot of steering there. That's why we heard those scratching noises. The G-forces pushes the helmet down on the ice. And when you hear that scratching noises, that's friction. And friction is not a partner in the sport.
Well, with the top 2 Russians not racing here this weekend, we've got a few that we have not seen before. We've seen this man
on the track. Hier startet Evgeny Ukozmaev aus Russland.
12 World Cup starts, 15th here in this race last year. That's a good start, 5th fastest.
Well, he's a good starter, Martin. Like most of the Russian athletes that we see, the Russian females, that we'll see later on today. Well, we won't see them this year, but they're female rockets in their own right. Start 2/10 back. Now, that's not bad. If he stops that bleeding, keeps it within 30 hundredths here in the exit, he could be a top 7, top 6. No noise there in the exit there. 3200s back speed. 6th best speed. No, listen to it. It's so quiet, Martin. It's just such a different element. 5th best speed there, Martin. That's pretty good. He's improving. So it looks like a 2nd best speed to Dukor. Maybe top 5. Excellent.
Kaisinger is 5th. No, Viesturs is 5th. Yes.
That is excellent.
Ahead of Kaisinger. Well, he had a good start, a top 5 start, and a top 5 finish. It's a really good run. Never better than 9th in a World Cup race, but yeah, this could be his World Cup best, and what a place to do it.
The exit here, no sound. Look at the lean. You know, we didn't hear any scratching. He only had like the 6th or 7th best speed on the exit, but he improved that to the 2nd best speed down on the finish. That means we can put the tag on this athlete. He's a glider. He really knows how to let the sled accelerate. I think we're going to start having to remember his name, Martin. That guy has got some talent.
Next up is the USA's Austin Florian. Only 2 races here, the last couple of World Cup outings. He finished in 19th place last year. And of course, the USA coming back to World Cup sliding last weekend in Winterberg for the first time this year.
Florian, push time. 4:89.
Looked a lot of noise there in the entrance to curve 1. Not a pretty good start. 6th best start. Austin, Clarkson University. Alpine skier over Whiteface Mountain, and all of a sudden somebody said, hey, let's go try skeleton. So Austin Florian came over, tried skeleton, and here he is, representing the U.S. as the USA #1 athlete.
Yeah, because skiing isn't enough of an adrenaline rush.
United States.
Well, Clarkson University, Clarkson Tech, as they call it, one of the top hockey schools in the United States for hockey. And it's an engineering school, so that's what his background is. And I think if you're an engineer, you got a pretty good idea of good, the bad, and the ugly in the sport. So 9th best speed, half second back. He can keep this at 5th or 6th best speed here in the bottom, Martin. Could be a top 10. 8th best speed coming back.
Yeah, he'll be in the top 10 ahead of
After Schlussrang, 8th place, 1:08.87 for Austin Florian,
these guys didn't do so well in their debut last weekend in Winterberg, but that's 1,250 meters. Coach Tuffy Latour, they're all excited. They need a top 10 for the USA athletes.
Well, his best result here is 16th on his debut 2 years ago. Cross his hands.
Watch the entry onto the sled. What hits first? What hits first? Boy, he overshot that, Martin. That wasn't perfect. Remember, I said there was a lot of noise going into that first curve, and something happened there. So, hey, that deficient start, still a good run.
Yeah, great run, top 10 run. Snow continues to fall here in St. Moritz, Switzerland. This is the 18th of our 27 sleds. 21-year-old Italian Amodeo Bagnis, only his 7th World Cup start. Did race here last year, so he's got limited knowledge of the track. This is only his 2nd time ever in St. Moritz.
Martin, the Italians don't have a lot of great history in our sport. I don't see any medalists, in the top 3 in the World Cup.
times 489 at the start, and you finished at 108.
Italian named Nino Bibbia won the 1948 Olympic gold medal in skeleton cresta here, and he was a man of all seasons. That guy, a world could have gone. He competed for Italy in alpine events. In 48, he chose skeleton, walked away with the gold medal. Martin, if you remember, we had Nino Bibbia standing in the winner's box with his gold medal about 15 years ago with all the athletes. Nino passed away in 2014.
I was going to say, didn't he present Shelley Rudman with her World Championship gold medal in 2013? I'm sure that was that year.
He was there. I got a picture of it. I got my picture with him. Yes, he passed away right after that. So what a great, the tradition here to bring out the 48 Olympic age gold medalist. That just tells you what this place has to offer us.
Well, there's new Italian names in the women's skeleton field later on this morning as well. So the sport is starting, and of course in bobsledding, the most famous name in all of bobsledding is also an Italian, Eugenio Monti. So, recent years, it's been a little thin in success.
And Martin, where are we going in 2026? Back to probably one of our favorite stops ever on the tour. Oh, boy, the vision to look into that future. Look at his eyes there. He wasn't straight down there. A lot of leaning here. Okay, not bad. First-time athlete. He's got the skeleton build, that's for sure, Martin.
Next up, another Austin McCrary. So the second Austin in the US. He made his World Cup debut last week in Winterberg. This is his first time in St. Moritz, apart from a Europa Cup last year.
Boy, Martin, 19th guy down, and the 19th best start, and then he hits take on to the start hard. Boy, he's really gonna have to find some speed here to get into that top 20. But when you got, on any track, you got the 19th best start, you have no chance. Here in St. Moritz, you have a slight chance because the track's so long. You gotta have some great gliding skills.
Said his previous race was back in 2016, so 5 years since he's been on the track. 19th best speed. He is in the race at the moment because he's the 19th of our sliders, but he may struggle to make the cut.
That's start time. 19th best speed on the exit, so all the numbers he's talking about are not the numbers you need. His first time in this St. Moritz competition, 2.5 seconds back.
For Austin McCrary.
Couple Austins, what's the odds on that? Having two guys,
I know.
A couple Johns is one thing, but a couple Austins.
It's not confusing at all, is it? Hey, Austin! 2 people turn around. Oh, come on, guys. Which is why then they'll obviously have to go with surnames. Hey, McCrary! That narrows it down a little.
Look at his head, tilting, trying to get out. He really was high he got in there late, high on the exit. Look at him still struggling to get off. Head's way up there. Wasn't a good slingshot effect onto the bottom.
I'm out, adios.
I think unfortunately he may be. 20th of our starters, Lawrence Bostock of Great Britain. Second World Cup start. His first was also in St. Moritz. Listen, if you're going to get one World Cup start a year, what a place to get it.
Look at that. Sixth best start. You know, the British, every guy they bring out here start the sled. Well, it doesn't matter what kind of start you got if you're banging off the walls there on the entrance to wall. He's a quarter second back, and that'll bleed into probably 40, 50 hundredths back by the time we get down to the world famous horseshoe curve. There's the 50 hundredths. You know, if he has a good exit here on the horseshoe and good speed at the bottom, he's got a chance to get into the field, but those mistakes up top were not helpful. 50 hundredths back, 15th best speed. Well, he had the 6th best start. 1 second back, 11th best speed. He's bleeding more. I don't know, Martin. Looks pretty sloppy.
Yeah, a lot of skidding around in the Gunter Sachs curve. That's the fastest turn before you get onto the long straightaway. You really need that. Oh. Yeah, really uncomfortable run.
He wins. Martin, he wins the award for hitting everything in sight. And he's at the bottom. Great start, but, you know, as soon as he came out of curve 1, coming down the long straightaway above wall, he was not straight, hitting a couple walls, but... you know, another example, the British only bring athletes out here who could start the sled. Here, good form there. You know, coming out of the slingshot effect out of horseshoe. Here, bang, bang, that's the Martino Portago. Uphill section, real high on Portago, bang. There's the finish line where the Omega clock is on the right.
Only his second season of sliding, raced Europa Cup last year. 20 sleds down, Martin Stukel's the leader. All now will turn their eyes to who makes the race. 20th place on our timing screens at the moment is Austin McCrary of the USA. Now our World Cup rookie, Vladislav Simonov of Russia, 23-year-old, making his debut. And 13th best start. Up to him to try and fight his way into the race now.
Yeah, surprised that. Usually the Russians come out here with the best starts, you know. I mean, you know, Tregobov, you know, those guys all have great starts.
783, 14th place for Simonov.
There does seem to be a prerequisite of success among the Russians to have that good start. You know, the Russians off slow starts. Simonov, everybody below 13th place is in danger. So Commander Mirambel in 14th, their positions are not yet safe.
51.08.
7/10, 6th best speed. That's pretty good glider. Remember, his teammate was great down here in the bottom part of the track with the 2nd best speed to 2 cars. Semenov, you know, not to start Trechikov is top 10. He's in the field for sure.
10th place, a World Cup debut for Vladislav Semenov. Raced here in the Europa Cup in 2017, the Junior Worlds in 2018, but that's his total experience of the track.
And his teammate is Trechikov, won the World Championships here in 2013. This long, lean, look at his toe, his left toe's dragging. He's a little late there, so he's not comfortable on the exit of horseshoe. Here's the other camera angle, the crossover into telephone. You know why it's called telephone, Martin? There used to be a telephone there where they could call back to the top to say, he crashed, you got to hold up. That was back in about 100 years ago. Track's come a long way since then.
It has return of Korea with Kim Ji-soo, 8th place finish in last year's race. So the Koreans here in force. The men are all here, all 3 guys. World Cup best.
He had pretty good results last year, Martin.
He did. He was in last year.
Well, he had 2 6th-place finishes right before that, too. Winterberg, Lake Placid, La Plagne, and then the 5th in Innsbruck. So you know, good slider. You know, and he's only 100th back now. Great start.
And for the Koreans, the last international race they were in was the World Championships in February last year. So it's a long time since they had a race.
Horseshoe.
I think the Alpinza track's open. I think the bobsledders are using. I think I saw something on Facebook that are they using the Alpinza track now, Martin?
Yeah, they are. They've been training there, and they've had some international training there as well. A few sliders like Jackie Narracotta over there. 22nd best speed. So from the third best start.
I think there's something wrong with the clocks, Martin.
This is only the second ever time in St. Moritz.
131,6, er verliert weiter Zeit gegen unten.
I think the clock's got some issues. 8,700's back, it's not bad. He's in the field.
In 1:09.
But, you know, the snow affects these timing eyes. They had some real issues yesterday, as you described in our opening statements.
They did, but they've put canvas roofing over where all the timing eyes are to try and make sure that the snow doesn't get in the way. But whatever, he is in the race, and we have lost Mark Lynch and Austin McCrary. Switzerland's Sammy Kaiser is on the bubble now.
Look at these spectacular pictures in Horseshoe. 4 different cameras covering the action. Look at the athlete's head pop up there. Great start. Just didn't have the speed, Martin.
First time ever in St. Moritz for Jung Seungui. So he had 2 dry days of training with sunshine and fast ice. Race day, it's a snow day. What on earth is he going to be able to make of this?
A couple 9th place finishes last year, Martin. Pretty good start. 9th place start, 700's back. 11th best speed, velocity out of curve 1, and not too sure of himself coming down this long straightaway in the wall.
82 start, finish time 1:09.09. 11th place.
Wow, Martin, it's just the sound is just compared to those, you know, above ground refrigerated tracks that we work with all the time. This is such a different platform. Ooh, hit the lip. First time we've seen him do that. 23rd best speed, so I don't, you know, the speed is going into Horseshoe. So this is only going to magnify. He might struggle to make the cut, Martin. Nah, this looks like 16th or so.
Right now, it's him or Sammy Kaiser of Switzerland. Let's see where he ends up. Hasn't got much speed going at the bottom.
Kaiser zurück. 1:09.
And across the line, 22nd place. So he doesn't make the cut. His first ever slide in St. Moritz.
Leider nicht mehr dabei.
Fast for this season, I'm afraid.
You know, Martin, if you can't win, be spectacular. And he was spectacular in the Horseshoe curve. He, I think, is the only athlete to touch the wood. Hello. Well, I don't know if he touched it, but he was certainly up in no man's land.
Oh,
yes, he did touch it. Confirmed. Confirmed. If you can't win, be spectacular. And he was. Look at how high he was in the outlet. Wow. Boy, that curve, it's been exciting for over 100 years. He goes, he disappears, Mark. Look at, he's on one runner. Wow.
Yeah. Wild ride off Horseshoe. Let's see what his teammate can make of it. This is our Olympic champion, Yun Sunbin, 26 years old now. Finished off the podium in 4th last year, but he won the 2 previous races here. He's had 3 wins in 5 years.
Rekord, neue Startbestzeit. 4:28. Sunbin Jung.
What he did for the sport,
mit 5:14 die besten Laufzeiten im Training
in sliding, you know, which was the first ever Asian medal in sliding. You know, everybody says, well, what he did for Korea, what he did for the sport in Asia, our next Olympics, of course, here in Beijing. You know, and this is a legend. You know, I mean, we talked about Nino Bibbia winning that Olympic gold medal in 1948 here
Sprung von 600
Italy.
Sekunden auf Martin
This will be
Stukus.
talked about forever, the ages, what he did for the sport in Asia.
And he is ahead of Martin Stukus at Horsham. He drops back. He's had 5 World Cup starts here, 6 World Cup starts here. He has only once been off the podium, and that was last season.
Oh, 15th best speed. He definitely was in the snow belt.
Nummer 8, er fällt weiter zurück. Und im 5. Zwischenrang, 5th place,
Almost all the way down, but that is a good run from Sumbanyon of Korea.
He's in position to win a medal at second run. Again, when the people that he's challenging all went way before him. He'll be right there in the mix with them. I predict he'll get on the podium.
I think there's a huge chance of that. Tied with Yevgeny Rukoshwev. That shows how good the young Russian is as well.
Look at the form. Look at the technique. Little medium low there. Just looks like he's in, you know, he barely moves on the sled. Look at the head. It's got it up a little bit there. Didn't have great speed in the exit, Martin. You know, can we say it's the weather? I say it's the weather. It's certainly not because of his talent.
That's for sure. So next up is the second of our rookies. This is 20-year-old Italian Pietro Drovanti. Only 8 Europa Cup races under his belt and the Junior Worlds last year. He has never raced in Cyprus before.
19th best start, and he starts to play ping-pong, ricochet rabbit, showing a lot of experience here, Mark. I mean, he's showing how easy Dukars makes it look. I mean, this is not kicking this little train coming down this ice canal. And Martin, this is a true ice canal. Those other refrigerator ones are makeshift, but this is a true ice canal carved out. How they do it every year is amazing.
Well, most of the crew come over from Italy to build this, and a lot of the people in town speak Italian, so this is like home from home for him, but it just shows how hard it is to keep a sled straight. They don't have flat runners like an ice skate, they're rock runners, so it's like a rocking chair. There's a tiny contact patch about the size of your fingerprint, your thumbprint.
Bang. Well, this is a learning experience for this young Italian. He's got his sights set on 2026 Cortina Milan, or Milan Cortina. I call it Cortina Milan because I might favor that thing, a little place in Italy called Cortina. But hey, Pietro, congratulations on your first ride ever racing in St. Moritz.
Well, right now, he is out of the second heat, 25th place, and as you said, John, the sled meandering under him, and you just dare not do anything about it.
Yeah. This shows you, it's not easy doing this. I mean, you got people like Dukars and Trechikov and Sun Vignon.
On the track,
they make it look easy.
From Russia, Konstantin
Easy we won't be doing this. Strasser Vobotna for Konstantin Koroshko. This is his second World Cup start. His first was in Koenigsee in January 2017. I have no idea how it's taken them so long to bring him back. I know, 4 years ago, he was 21st. He's had one Europa Cup race here before.
7/10 back. Well, he's fighting to get into the field. And if he exits Horseshoe with there like a 13 or so best speed, he should be able to do it. Look at the speed. They didn't give us the speed there that time.
Last race of any kind was over a year ago in the ICC in January 2020.
Right on the bubble, Martin.
Yeah. It's him or Lawrence Bostock of Great Britain, but I don't think he's going to make it.
Ooh, I don't know. Right on the bubble.
Ja, das ist knapp für den zweiten Durchgang. Jawohl, so ist es. 22. Rang. Rank 22 with 1:10:15. 1:10:15 Schlusszeit.
Lawrence Bostock hangs on. Kevin Boyer is in the field in 19th. There's only one sled to go. So it is either Lawrence Bostock or another rookie who gets through. Bostock knows that position. He was a rookie last year and didn't make the cut, but yeah, Korosko not looking exactly overawed with his day so far.
Look at great extension onto the sled. I love that, like almost a gymnastics type move. But he starts to skid right there, Martin. Look at that. You know, he probably overshot.
Yeah, he had the left rudder in the right-hand groove. He was really close to that first corner and just had to haul it out like it's a Cresta sled. Our final slider then, 23-year-old Swiss debutant Jean-Jacques Bouffe. And Jean-Jacques is the older of two sliding brothers. Brother Viesturs is also sliding for Switzerland. 4 Europa Cup races and the Junior Worlds in 2020. And that was his last race. He has not raced since. Now, he has practiced on this track, but he's got very little experience.
Boy, he didn't run very far in the start, Martin. 25th best start time. I don't care how much he knows about this track. He's going to really have to have a straight line like he's having here all the way down to have a chance to make the field. He's already 8/10 back. He's going to be a second down before he gets to Horseshoe. So if I'm
from first, the athlete is 1.5, so we'll see how he goes.
Der 23. Zwischenrang, aber JJ gibt Gas gegen
good line. I mean, he's got good lines here. I mean, these are nice technique. That can't be right. He doesn't have. He can't have the best speed. I think there's some little suspect that speed trap there. He doesn't have the best speed.
On elapsed time, he is driving himself into the field, so he is ahead of Lawrence Bostock on the splits. It's a good run
Natürlich in Sachs und mit 134,69 im Ziel. 1,29,22, der 15. Zwischenrang.
Martin, I'd like to be able to say I stand corrected. I find it highly improbable he had the best speed in Horseshoe in the finish with the 25th best start. But in St. Moritz, stranger things have happened. Unlikely.
We've seen some strange
the start here, look at his toes. But whenever he's in the field, congratulations. But my timing instinct tells me something wrong with that. But look at the technique. I will say this. Head comes up a little bit, but he did have some great technique on the track, Martin. He was, deficient start, but pretty straight above wall.
Yeah, he may not be the best starter, but he can slide. Now, a man who is among the best starters and who sure can slide, Martin Stuckert, our World Cup points leader. He leads the field.
Well, not a surprise.
He's looking for win number 8 here in his 16th race in St. Moritz. So Martin Stuckert, Alexander Gassner, Thomas Stuckert, and as we've seen almost everywhere this year, but with a whole host of different names, a bit of a separation from the podium back. However, in these conditions, Grother, Jung, Schweb, they could all take a medal. I mean, from that far back, Kaisinger probably not, but those medals probably going to come from the top 6. And down, further down, our rookie Jean-Jacques Bouffe makes the field. Sebastian Inaki is in, and Mirambel is in. So too in 19th place, Florian Auer and Kevin Boyer. From Lawrence Bostock on down, they will all be watching the second heat, not competing. And you can do the same. Join John Morgan and me, Martin Haven, as we come back for our second heat in 41 minutes. We're on a hurry-up offense all day, all weekend. We'll be back at 10:45 local, 09:45, the much more human hour of 04:45 Eastern. We'll see you then. Bye for now.